When I was born, I'm pretty sure I almost died. I never got to get held as a baby. Right there's just pain and disconnect that you feel from any sort of anything. Grief was a gateway for me to get help.
What is some of the hard stuff that you had to go through that other people might be going through?
The one thing I noticed about the attachment to my parents is once I unattached to that, I was able to reattach to my higher self.
When was it that you discovered your relationship with a higher self, or that there even was?
It took me 4 years to write it. I remember arguing with myself, like, this is so not sexy. I'm such a loser. Like, no one's ever gonna date me if I write a book about this. I wanna be a famous actress. And then the book just came through me. We go through this hero's journey, this dark night of the soul collectively to just remember ourselves again. So it's so hilarious because we're just going through all this to remember who we really are.
Oldish. The art of knowing more and caring less. With your host, Randy Spelling, Brian Austin Green, and Sharna Burgess.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Oldish. Our guest today is one of those people who embodies what she talks about. Her journey is neither tidy nor ordinary. She's overcome intense adversity, weathered self-doubt, and reclaimed her voice. She doesn't just explore things like energy, consciousness, awakening. She lives it. You can feel it in the way that she speaks, the content she creates, and the ways that she connects. Her new book, A New Force, Plasma, Consciousness, and the New Human Potential, has just come out, and she has this amazing way of bridging science and spirituality, bringing deep wisdom into really grounded human conversations. I have a feeling that this one's going to stretch your mind, open your heart, and maybe even spark a little magic.
So first off, fourth member of Hanson, Dana Kippel, welcome to Oldish. It's so great to have you. We loved your music in the 90s. Can't wait to hear the new album. I love the fact that you all play instruments. That's great.
Yes, my instrument is writing.
Yes,
Perfect. Your instrument is a pen.
So for anyone watching, we have to introduce the other member on the podcast. Could you please give us an introduction?
Who, me?
To the other one on
the
screen?
dog that's sitting in the background.
Oh,
on your bed.
Her name is Danica.
Yes.
Say hi. Her name is Danica. She's 4 years old. She looks really weird right now, but she's just a little bit stunned.
She's also a dog, just in case no one got that information. And
Yes, for those listening,
so there's a weird 4-year-old in the background.
It's not a person sitting in your hotel room bed. It's your corgi.
Yeah, she's a corgi. She's my best friend and my daughter.
I love that.
Oh, that's sweet. So, Dana, you're in Arkansas. You're driving to Portland, Oregon.
You're moving to Portland.
Yeah.
Portland's a big spiritual town now, isn't it? It seems like it.
But so is LA. LA, I feel like, is a big sort of spiritual mecca.
LA seems like it's full of people though that talk the talk. They don't actually walk the walk.
Yeah, that's what I was
They don't
gonna
walk
say.
the walk.
Yeah,
That's what I was gonna
Portland
say.
is people like yourself that walk and go, that's a beautiful tree. And in LA, people go, you should stop for a second and love the
picture.
trees, but then nobody does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they take a picture in front of the tree and don't actually
Right.
talk to
This
the
is
tree.
me with a tree.
And in Oregon, in Oregon, they talk to the tree and they don't put it on Instagram, but they all seem to have it on their dating profiles,
Oh,
which
okay.
is weird.
I love trees.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
I
This
love
is
that.
something I
Tree
did
Must
not
love
know.
trees. Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Single must love bark.
So, Dana, you wrote this amazing, exquisite,
Massive.
very massive book called A New Force, Plasma, Consciousness. And
That's like a Windows user manual. Like that is massive.
It is.
Unbelievable.
It's the Windows user manual for reality.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Fair.
So before touching on the subject matter of plasma and all that you wrote in the book, I really thought it was important to talk first about you and how you even came to this. I follow you on social media. I would highly recommend everyone listening and watching to follow you because there's something so refreshing about what you share and how you share it. So you teach and you talk about findings that are exciting to you. but you do it in a way where you also share yourself and that you're having a hard week or a bad week and how you move through things, and you humanize the spiritual journey in a way that a lot of other people don't, because they're posturing to be experts. And so they have to look a certain way. And I don't think you care about that, which is why I appreciate you so much.
Yeah. I feel like, so I've read so many books, right? I'm going to go on a tangent here, but I've read a lot of books in self-help and spirituality. And the one thing that really bothered me was as I was reading them, I would try to like become those people or do what the book said. And I just felt like it was kind of fake in a way, or like I was trying to be something I wasn't. And I just became obsessed with like trying to be more of myself. So, because I feel like I hopefully am a mirror to other people that the best life you can live is when you're yourself. And if I lie and say like I'm an expert and I wrote this book and like I know everything in the world, no one knows everything in the world. I know my perspective, and I wanted to give people like a fresh view on my perspective of reality, and I want people to know that they can have a beautiful fresh view on reality too. And hopefully my book will get them more connected back to their higher self and authentic self, so they can also write a book or make a movie or just express themselves. I think as long as we express ourselves and not care about the outcome or what people think, we'll be okay.
I totally agree with that.
That
like it's the more authentically ourselves we get, the more we tend to draw people that we would want around us, because you're not putting on this mask of what you think society wants you to look like or say or be. And it's just, you're taking all that pressure off of yourself. It seems for me, like I know once I took that pressure off of myself, I really have a sense now of, if someone doesn't like me, like they don't, okay. So you don't like me. That's just you. But you like, I'm being authentically me. I'm not going to change into something that you prefer, which I used to do. I spent years doing.
Well, and also creating, right? Like putting things out in the world where, is it an authentic expression of you, or are you doing something to either follow metrics, hit metrics, do something that you think other people want from you, versus what is in your heart, what is feeling good, and continuing on that path, even if the outcome isn't unfolding the way that you want. It's a hard one.
Yeah, I was going to say, your podcast is actually perfect, because I read the subtitle of your podcast. It was something like Getting Older and Caring Less, right?
The art of knowing more and caring less,
The art of knowing more. So I feel, to be completely honest, I think the reason I learned so much about being myself every day is because I actually struggle with a lot of like performance anxiety. So what happens is, the more and more, this can happen with a person or with like following my dreams, the more and more attached I get, or the more and more I become into a relationship with a person or my dreams, the more and more performance anxiety I'll get. So it's all of a sudden what got me those things, which was being myself, all of a sudden I wake up one day, this happens, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm attached. I'm worried about if I'll lose this. And then I start to perform, and then I end up losing it. And I think I lost it by being me, when really I lost it by falling out of alignment with my authentic self and performing. So I'm very hyper aware of when I get into a performative state. And now I feel like I've kind of unlocked or hacked how not to do that, or how to at least catch myself when I'm doing that. I call it being attached, but also being free. Instead of detachment, it's like you can be attached and love the experience and be in a relationship with it, and not do anything for the outcome, and be okay if it goes away or if it stays, if that makes any sense.
I remember when I was younger, there was a cartoon that I used to watch, and there was a little girl who she would be that way with pets. Like she would over love them and strangle them to the point where they were like, I don't want this anymore. And I think sometimes it's like you really love something, so then you try so hard to hold on to it that you make it this unlivable space for someone else to fill, for someone else to be in.
I get that.
Dana, where does that come from? Do you think that that want or need to perform and be liked or be something someone else wants you to be?
I would say just from my childhood, when I was really young, when I was like myself, my true shining self, whether I was very effervescent and joyful, or when I had a cry, when I was having a tantrum, that was still being myself, right? My mom couldn't handle that because of stuff with her mom. So we're not blaming my mom. We're just saying, because my mom had this, she treated me like that.
Right.
I was too much for my parents. I was adopted, and I remember they really did do this when I was younger. They would say, like, don't do this or we're going to send you away, which obviously triggers someone who's adopted. Or
that is
I would,
a horrible thing to say. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Or I'd be like laughing and joyous, and my mom would tell me I was manic and needed to calm down. Or if like I was crying, my mom would get angry at me. And once again, these were all things because her mom was very mentally ill and she couldn't handle her own emotions, so she couldn't handle mine. And then my dad was a bit, suffered from autism, and not suffered, but he had autism, and he couldn't emotionally relate to me. So basically, as a child, I learned if I perform, if I'm hyper aware of what they need me to be, then I'll survive. So I learned to get love through other ways of performance and asking and being certain ways. So unfortunately, that carried into my adulthood, and now, thank God, it's almost gone. But I think the only reason I can really fully be myself is because I actually went through that journey, and it helped me be so authentic that I could like write a book like this and not care.
Talk to me about the way that you hacked that, because you're talking now about programming from the youngest of ages and programming around your relationship of love and belonging and how you get that. And as kids, that's what we're searching for, right? We're trying to figure out where we belong, what love means. And that was programmed into you. How did you hack that and break that? Because I think we all could learn from those tools that you found.
Yeah. Interesting question. So I think for me, it took a lot of pain and grief. And then I can't explain how this happened, but almost like, I don't know if you call it a higher awareness or my higher self coming in, and kind of grief was a gateway for me to get help. So I started getting therapy and doing what's called parts work and internal family systems. It's something where you do parts work with your inner child. So I went back and I visited all these memories, and I had to learn to reparent myself because I survived to get love back then. But now I'm in 2025. I'm 36 years old. I'm an adult, and that doesn't work anymore. I'm not with my parents. So I basically project my parents onto my dreams and onto every boyfriend I've ever had and friend. So that's what I did in the past. And then eventually I had enough pain in a relationship, always my dreams feel like they're slipping out of my fingers, to realize that I was putting this like chokehold on all these things, and it was my parents. So I had to heal that relationship by going back in time and telling my little child selves, I love you, I'm here for you, I've got this. And if it doesn't work out, it's not meant to be, but we're still going to keep an open heart and be ourselves, and the things that are meant for us will stay. And if they're not meant for us, something more amazing's coming along. But just like, be you and I love you. So, and that's like a constant thing I have to do every day to retrain myself still, because I'm still working on it. Because, I had years of that. So, yeah.
It is daily work, or sometimes weekly, maybe monthly.
Sometimes weekly.
I think the idea is someone goes, okay, I've gone to therapy. I've looked at myself. That's it. And as we all know, things in life come up that just unearth. I don't want to use the word trigger, unearth other layers to look at. And looking at parts of self and reparenting is so helpful, because your parents, no matter what they say, no matter what they do, it can help, but it never fully heals it. The healing work is within you. And I think that's what you're talking about. Can you describe some of what you actually went through? Addiction, bullying, some experiences that you had earlier on, because you're here, you're 36, you've written this book, you've hacked a lot. But what is some of the hard stuff that you had to go through that other people might be going through?
Yes. Okay, I'll bring that up, but let me bring up one thing that's just coming through to me, so I have to say it or else I'll lose it.
Okay.
The one thing I noticed about the attachment to my parents is once I unattached to that, I was able to reattach to my higher self. So now it's almost like that authentic self is living through me because now I'm attached to myself, which is a good thing.
I have a quick question for you before yours.
Please.
Just because it was coming to me before. Do you feel like it's mutually exclusive? Like you need to heal all of the past first before you can start moving forward? Or can you do both at the same time? Both.
I think you can, in my book, I call it healing and feeling, but it really is true. You never are going to be fully healed, but what you can do in every moment is make space for your feelings and be authentic in that. So just once again, it is about healing, but that's a lifetime thing.
Yeah.
And some people get so stuck in healing.
People get confused. They think that they have to heal everything before they can then be the person they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's what seems like overwhelming and daunting for people that haven't even started.
Yeah, and I wrote this whole book when I was still in my the idea came through before in my first year of therapy, and then I had 4 more years before I actually wrote it. But I had my most, spiritual moments when I wasn't healed. So that connection's always there. It's more like the more coherent you get in feeling and authenticity in healing, the more you can manifest what your higher self, God, whatever wants for you in this life. So there is definitely a motivation to heal, but you can still be connected and live authentically without being fully healed.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always try and live as consciously as possible in situations and decide who do I want to be, not who am I, because who am I started with all of these fucked up experiences and really difficult things when I was younger. So every time it's okay, who do I want to be in this situation? Not who, and the more I feel like I do what I act in the way of the person I want to be, the more that becomes my present,
I'm just curious what you all think. It almost seems like you have to choose to become a new identity time and time and time again to overcome your personality, because the narrative in the story, who you see in the mirror, what you think in your head is really a collection and an amalgamation of past stories.
My first instinct is to react in the way that my younger self did, because I did it for so long. Yeah. So now it's like a reprogramming. It's like, okay, I don't want to do that anymore. And I know consciously that I was doing that, like you said, when I was younger, because that was my coping mechanism. But I'm 52 now. There's no excuse anymore. The things that were hard with my parents and with school, I can't lean on that anymore. Well, that's not an excuse. Let me
say this though, if you feel like you haven't ever been able to fully express it, at least what I do is I let that inner child come out, or I would even call it you're almost like the divine feminine side of us, like our inner rage, our inner magic. I let that out behind closed doors just so I can still make space for it, because it does pop up, right? And then where else do you put that energy? But, I'll try to have grace with the person in front of me, let that out behind closed doors, and then integrate it, and then come back to the person. And I'm like, okay, I can choose to either express something in a calm way, or I don't have to engage with them. But I definitely, for me, it's like an integration of that child self and healing that, and then repatterning the beliefs on that kind of template of the child self, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Do you let that stuff out though behind closed doors because you're ashamed of it, or because it's the healthiest way now of dealing with things?
I feel it's the healthiest way just for me, because I'm not going to yell at someone and that's weird. If someone does something, I'm going to work it through with myself once again, reparenting myself, or talking to my higher self, whatever, talking to my therapist, whatever it is. I don't need to always work it out with the person. First, I work it out with me, and I decide, is this my stuff? Is this the other person's stuff? Do I need to yell? Do I need to cry? And then I can, now do I need to go back to this person and maybe express they made me feel a certain way, or do I need to accept them for who they are, and was I trying to control them? You know what I mean? It's very nuanced.
Right.
Yeah.
I get that.
What I heard you say.
Now I can go back.
Wait, but there's just so much to unpack.
Totally.
Before we even go back, I want to make sure we like close these little loops. You
Okay.
said divine feminine and rage in the same sentence. And I don't normally hear that because rage seems something very traditionally like very masculine. So can you describe what that means? And if you don't mind, like what does that look like for you behind closed doors?
Oh, sure. Sharna, I wonder if you can agree with this. Just maybe you'll resonate with what I'm saying. So the divine feminine, I associate with rage. There's something called dakinis. If you look it up, I think it might be in Tibetan Buddhism. It's these like, it was also in Love, Death, and Robots in one of the first episodes. If I don't know, someone can look it up, but it was a very interesting thing. So in history, people have suppressed the divine feminine and rage and desire because it supposedly causes suffering. And these dakinis are these kind of like, I wish I had a picture of them. They're like these red demonic looking women who like twirl and like eat fire and hearts and look so angry. But really what that is our magic that is covered with fear and hurt and pain and betrayal. And it's from usually our mother, and we project it onto this almost like what I call plasma, which is in my book, the fabric of reality, this receptive energy that we all kind of mold with our consciousness to create reality. And when we don't get what we want, we get angry at it. But we don't realize that this energy, which our higher self comes through, it's limitless. It wants to give us everything, but it responds to our subconscious. And most of us have a bad program subconscious where we are angry at ourselves. We hate ourselves, whether it's programmed from our parents or bullies or friends or whatever happened in our life. And it's just giving us what we want. It's mirroring to us what we really think about ourselves. So I don't know how I got to this, but basically this divine feminine energy has been associated with rage for so long when we don't realize it's our own consciousness that holds the rage. So once we can heal that, which I'll say how I do it, then we can start using this energy to co-create our reality instead of lashing out at people and thinking we're victims to life and all this stuff and being scared of our own power.
So you're saying it's not divine feminine rage. There is a divine feminine, then there is our rage, but they have been somehow associated with each other.
Intertwined. Yes. So the divine feminine has been, thank you for clarifying that. It is being misrepresented as this rage and like unhealthy desire that causes suffering, when really it's actually, everyone has the divine feminine. It's our receptive magic. It's our inner essence. And then, you could call the divine masculine your consciousness or your thinking, or we have both parts in us, obviously everyone does. But yeah, so you just have to learn to reassociate it, at least I do, and heal it and kind of untwine. Like my whole second part of my book is about unraveling consciousness from this feminine energy and letting them kind of more exist in a feedback loop. I know that was a little esoteric, but basically the human way that I deal with this when I have rage, it's simple as this. I either I'm in my room and I'll put on music and I'll shake it out, and then I'll start crying or screaming, or I'll go in my car and I'll scream if, I'm in a hotel. I don't want people to think I'm murdering someone.
Right.
Or I'll do like embodiment exercises, like there's vagus nerve resets, somatic yoga, and then qigong. Those things actually help me kind of get the rage and like out of my body when I stretch. But the best way is shaking and screaming, because they do that in Africa, and dogs do it when they're shaking off stress. That's actually a stress response.
I was just going to ask, how much of this has your dog witnessed? All of it?
She's exhausted.
Right. Okay. So she's in the car with you when you're screaming. She's in the hotel room with you when you're screaming and shaking it off. She's seen all of it.
Does she join in?
Yeah.
No, so she does start barking at me, and my therapist told me I have to like cleanse her energy because otherwise she'll soak it in. But she does start barking at me and she gets anxious, which I feel bad about, but I have to get it out.
Yeah.
But maybe I should have put her in the other room, and I'm traumatizing her just like my mom traumatized me. So I'm just repeating the cycle.
Let's hope not.
Wait, so again, before we get into more of the past, you talked a few times about higher self, and I think this is a concept that's kind of thrown around. How would you define if someone's like, what is a higher self?
Higher How would I define it?
Yeah.
A lot of different ways. It's very multidimensional, but basically, if I could try to do it easily, it is the expanded self or a multidimensional self that sits in some higher plane or some plane beyond Earth. And we are a fractal of that self experiencing this timeline here. So it is like the self that has a vantage point, a higher vantage point of all your lives that you've ever lived. And it basically can access all this information. So when you're connected to it, it kind of you might be able to see your future potentials, or you might be more intuitive. You know what your soul's dream is. You're aligned with your heart and soul versus ego. So, yeah, I kind of just see it as like, and then this realm where our higher self is, I call it the realm of like our future ancestors. It's almost like that's what I think some people call God. It's this energy of all our higher selves that are individualized, but also together. And they're just up there supporting us. And we're just, a part of that higher self visiting. But on this earth, you can also live that expanded self in this body, and you're always connected to that, and it just makes life way more magical, in my opinion.
I've always liked the simple visual of good and evil sitting on each shoulder.
Oh,
so when you do something, you've got the good side that's leaning in, going, "You don't want to do that," and then the bad side going, "You could get away with it if you wanted," but it forces you then to find your own morality within it, and the rules and the feelings that make the most sense to you. And then it becomes this really cool individual. It's what I consider God for me also, or the universe or a higher power is. It's that moral, it's the two that sit on the shoulders. It's that simple.
It's so fun. We were actually talking about this before sitting down with Dana out there, and we were talking about intuition, and we were talking about like when things just come through, whether it's maybe a creative idea or an awareness where out of the blue, you're doing something and this thought just comes in, but it's not, it's almost like not your own thought.
Right. You can't take credit for it. It's just like it downloads and all of a sudden you're like, wow, something really interesting just came in. I don't know where, I don't know why. Nothing led to it.
See, that's what a discussion amongst all of us here. That's what I think higher self is, right? Is when you talk about the two on the shoulder, I would say higher self is the
above
good,
that?
and the
angel
is the angel or the higher self, your enlightened self. But the lower that never has the thoughts
ego.
of. Yes, the other is the ego, which lives within us right here.
You have to have one, though, to have the other, right? I mean, you've got to have sort of the yin and yang of it. You have to have the bad in life to appreciate the good and vice versa.
I think here on this timeline here in this plane, yes. But do you think that in higher self, we also have that balance, or is it all just pure love and light?
I would say it actually is like the smallest sliver ever of what I would call contrast. Like you bring the smallest sliver of that personality back with you. So like in that higher self realm of love and light, it's still, I do myself see it still as there are individual personalities. Like I'm up there, you're up there. We're not all just one, but we're one and we're individual. But I think that it is all love and light up there, and this darkness is more transmuted to that. But down here, I think the tension of both is how we grow and evolve. And create new things. And here you have to honor the light and the dark, but you can also, I think up there for me, yes, if that makes any sense.
Sure. It does.
It does.
I have a take.
I have a take. What's
Randy's
hot
Let's
take?
hear Randy's spelling.
Randy's hot take. I love it.
I think exactly what you're saying. We are in this third, fourth, whatever you want to call this, dimensional reality where it is a reality of polarity. It is a good, bad, wrong, right, light, dark, left, right, blue, red. Like you have the contrast, as you're saying, of all of these things. If you didn't have that down here, the experience would be totally different.
Right.
Like I wouldn't experience the hurt and the pain and the wounds because I would see everything as it should be, and it's all there. I could have this broad picture, but I think we get the picture of a straw hole. We get this amnesia and forget who we are, where we come from, to experience the things that we need to experience. And just my take here, to be able to have such a depth and richness of experience. We go so far into the pain and the hurt and old identity and who we were, to then have awareness come in. And every time we are transforming, we're putting that out into the pool of the collective for other people to transform. And collectively, I believe as a planet, we are all transforming, even though it feels batshit crazy right now on the planet.
Yes.
I think we are all elevating. And by all of us having these conversations and talking about it, and even people who think this is so esoteric, this is far out, I don't agree with anything they're saying, to at least see what you can hold without just denying it, right? Like, hey, could we all be connected?
You can't disprove it.
Right. Yeah.
Dude, good hot take moment. I love that.
We all have hot take. I love.
Okay.
I 100% agree. Yeah, and this will go back to what you're about to ask me. It's like we go through this hero's journey, this dark night of the soul collectively, to just remember ourselves again. So it's so hilarious because we're just going through all this to remember who we really are. But it seems like right now, like what you're saying, we're all collectively remembering. And I think what these beings, our higher selves, are curious about is like, at least this is what I feel, is they're like, okay, we can do this all up here. There's a little bit of contrast. We can kind of create things right away. How did they create things with all the pain they have? It's almost like they're so in awe of us. Like, you guys go through all these dark contrast things and you guys still go on every day and create and love. And it's a very beautiful thing. And I think they're curious and stuff. Yeah.
Beautiful and hard as shit.
Yeah.
Like, it's really, I mean, let's all just put it out there. Like, life can be beautiful and magical.
I've always said though, like I have learned the most in my life from failures, not from successes. The hard stuff is what makes you go back to the drawing board and go, okay, I've got to figure out a better way of doing that. If it works, you don't change anything.
Right.
If it works, don't, if it ain't broken, don't fix it. That's what I've been hearing my entire life. And it's true. It's like
forward.
Yeah, for sure. Failing forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good,
love that.
simple one for people to remember.
I love
Failing
mistakes.
forward.
I make mistakes all the time, and I love it because it helps me
You
become
appreciate
more
them.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
I mean, maybe not right when I'm doing them. That's a lie. When
it's,
I'm right,
it's
right
miserable
when
when
I'm
you're
doing them, I get
first
very
going
upset.
through them. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm ready to be asked now about my past.
The gate is now open.
The gate is now open.
Well, talking about failing forward and going through the pain and discomfort of being human, what was that like for you early on?
Oh my gosh. Well, I guess I can just go through a few things and then you can stop me if I'm talking too much.
Okay.
So I'm not, just to preface, I'm not victimizing myself, but the truth is that, this is my journey and there was a lot of dark stuff, and it doesn't mean, I'm a victim to life, but it means that I was in these things did put me in survival mode. I know that the people that did all these things to me were in very large states of fear. I have compassion for every person that ever did anything to me, and forgiveness. And I thank them for it because it made me who I was, and I think I chose it before I came here. So, but with all that said, so I guess the first real pain in my life was that I was adopted, and my birth mom was, 17. She had to give me away because her family was religious. She didn't feel she could keep me. And I think when I was born, I'm pretty sure I almost died. And I got put in a room isolated for 3 days. So I never got to get held as a baby. So I think right there, there's this pain and disconnect that you feel from any sort of anything, right? So that's kind of how my life started, was in disconnection. And I feel like my greatest power is my greatest weakness, which is the fact that I've always felt extremely disconnected up until recently. And then I was adopted by my family in New York, and I moved to this place called Suffolk, New York. I was given birth to in Queens, New York. And right away, I just started getting bullied a lot. I won't go too much into it, but, when I was like 5. There was I swear my life was like set up for this. It's really weird. So first, the boys in first grade, I gave out birthday invitations, and all the boys took them. This sounds so silly, but the boys took them out of their cubbies and stomped on them and called me Medusa. And they said, when they look at me, they'll turn to stone. And then I had 3 best friends in a row all move away. So they were my friend for a year. First people I felt safe with. My household was very violent. I was growing up around a lot of yelling, around a lot of threats. I'll send you away. Like the kids on the Maury show or the Montel show, like you're going to boot camp. Or my parents would leave the house when I was having a tantrum because they would get mad at me. But they didn't know that I was going through trauma at school. I didn't know how to tell them. And then I had a gymnastics teacher when I was 9 who was, molested me for like 4 years. And I didn't know how to express that. I was, wetting my bed and acting out with all this rage. And my parents just tried to like medicate me and send me to therapy. And every therapist told them she does not have ADHD. There's something else going on with her parents. But my parents just kept sending me to more and more doctors till I was just finally medicated by someone. And then when I was 13, this female gymnastics teacher said that I should train with her. Thank God. I think she thought something was going on. He ended up getting arrested. I think he's still in jail. And then when I became, there's something I want to talk about, but I don't think I'm ready to. But I had a very weird relationship with my dad and then with my mom as well. Yeah, there's just a lot there. And I never felt safe. I never felt connected to them. But the thing is, they loved me in their own way. Like, I had financially, everything was fine. I did not, go starving. I got to go to Six Flags. I loved going on vacations with my family, but inside I was like dying and just felt like I had no one to tell. And I didn't really feel like I had friends. And, sorry, hold on. And then, sorry, just
it's
caused
okay.
myself.
No,
and then
when
I was, okay. And then when I was 14, I got into high school and, I got my glasses, I got contacts, and then because of, I think, all the stuff that happened to me and I had nowhere to put this energy, I started drinking and doing cocaine. So, I got into I became very, yeah. And I became very promiscuous, in high school, which obviously led to me being bullied more. I was also raised Jewish, and a lot of the guys at school, I had a party, they came to my house, they drew swastikas everywhere, which was horrible for my parents. I made a few friends, and then I made a list of like guys I thought were cute. And this is before I slept with anyone. They photocopied it into guys Dana's had sex with. They were like 20 guys, and they passed it out as copies around school. And then I just kept doing more drugs and drinking, the more bad things that would happen to me. Eventually I'll just almost stop it there, but eventually I got sent to rehab. It was almost just like all of this sending away and disconnection. No one ever asked like what is actually going on. I feel like no one ever came in to like save me. Like there was no the teachers actually brought me in the principal's office to talk about me being promiscuous because they heard a rumor that that I was giving like a lot of guys blowjobs, which was at the time actually a rumor. Instead of when they found that list, instead of which was so embarrassing, instead of asking, "Is this list real? Are you fucking okay?" No one asked if I was okay. It was just weird. Anyway, it was a whole lifetime of fucking terror. I never felt safe. I felt horrible. Everything sucked. And then, eventually when I went to treatment, I finally ended up getting sober when I was 21. There's a lot of stuff I'm missing, but, that's for another time. Yeah. Obviously, there's just a theme here of just like struggle and betrayal and, not feeling like I could ask for help. And, I went to a rehab. I got sober. I actually ended up relapsing right after I left treatment when I was 21. I ended up in a trap house doing cocaine. That guy took advantage of me when I was asleep. And I remember he was a lot older, like just someone I never obviously would have slept with. And he's like, it's like 7 a.m. I'm 21. I have like this weird prostitute outfit on. Like he's driving me home. It's like, the crack of dawn. I'm like on cocaine. I'm sitting there. I knew what this guy just did to me. And I was like, I cannot let this be my life. Like how the fuck did I get here? And then I remember that morning I went to like an AA meeting with this friend who brought me. I saw a rainbow and I was like, I'm never fucking doing this again. And then I did have like 1 or 2 slip-ups throughout my 20s that I didn't really tell anyone about, but they were like for one day. And it was like, I was rejected by a guy and, the old Dana came back, and thank God I didn't think that was like the end of me. And I knew that I could, stop doing the drugs again if I wanted to. So, but I can't lie and say that I was completely sober for the last like 15 years because at points I've told people that and that's just not true. But for the most part, I'm extremely sober. And anyway, I'll let you guys ask me more questions. But basically, so through my 20s, I was sober. I was going to AA. I still was in horrible relationships because I never fixed the patterns of these things, of these belief systems. And then when I turned 30, enough was enough. I had enough pain. I had, this boyfriend betray me and, I'm a victim. And anyway, I started doing meditation. I started going to therapy and fixing myself instead of trying to fix everything around me. And that is when my life started to change. I wrote this book, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, I know that was so much.
No, it wasn't.
No.
So for me personally, I was just listening to all of that, trying to, because I know it's always at these like odd times when people just have that moment, whatever it is, where you go, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And it could be the simplest thing. It could be, I was sitting at a breakfast table having a bowl of cereal myself and I saw a reflection of myself, or it's, or I woke up, I was passed out in a bush. Like you have all of these and they're all, but I think for people watching you and hearing you speak, it's important for people to hear how simply those moments can be, because I think people overlook them sometimes. They have them, but then they go, it wasn't some big, massive 10 commandments were carved into thing, and I'm standing on a hilltop, and it can be something as, as simple as
a thought.
Yeah, a thought.
And following through with that, like keeping, like when you say you're done, then you need to follow through with the action of that. And then sometimes, shit happens again, and it's about being okay with making mistakes and knowing you're not doomed. You can pick yourself back up, and everyone has their own journey, but I think just learning to have like purpose and love myself and like be okay with my past and mistakes really helped me a lot, because I had so much shame for so many things I did. But I'm really glad I got that out of my system when I was like 15 and not when I got to LA.
Sure.
When I was 30.
Sure. Yeah, you're not taking that to Portland with you and destroying that city.
Yeah.
So,
oh God.
So you went into this like journey of healing, and by the way, as I was listening, there are so many things that I related to. I was like, our timeline was so unbelievably similar. I did not have abuse from parents, but drug abuse and all sorts of things and bad relationships and hit 30. So like, as I was listening, I was like, holy shit, some of this is my mirror.
Me too, by the way,
funny.
so much.
Wild. So you started your journey into healing and looking at yourself. I call it, I was like, I'm the common denominator here. So like, I'm going to have to figure this shit out. And when was it that you discovered your relationship with a higher self, or that there even was? Like, what was that moment? Because I think some people are like, okay, yeah, but what does it mean?
Right,
what
that
did it
sounds
look
great.
like?
How do
what
I?
did it look like for you when you found that?
Yeah. I will say for me personally, it was always with me as a little whisper. Like the only reason I would say like kill myself to be like, or like through addiction, I don't think, died or didn't go too far off, is because this voice told me, keep going. Like your life will get better. I promise you. Like something's there. Like don't give up kind of thing. So like I always had that, but mostly didn't listen to it. But I would call that my higher self. Even as a child, it would like this energy would visit me, but I saw it as a demon because I was in so much fear. And then, so when I started healing my trauma, this same connection with this thing I was so afraid of turned into my higher self. And I started realizing, okay, the whisper, the clarity, the feeling in my body of when it's clear, it's my higher self. When it's confusing, that's the devil on your shoulder. That's the ego. So I know when it's up here now, it's confusing. It's not that. But I've been able to identify when this like just clear voice comes in that feels almost like wiser than me for sure, but almost like me, like my grandparent that lets me make mistakes, but also like tells me really interesting shit. That's my higher self. And I would say when I first started to have a relationship with it, again, was when I started meditating when I was 31 through transcendental meditation. It started coming through to me through like visuals and stuff.
Amazing.
And is that when you were given the download, if you want to call it that, of this book?
Yeah, so my like third to fifth time meditating. The first time I meditated, it was extreme bliss. I knew where I came from, where I'll go back to. Like I cried. The teacher was kind of looking at me like,
what's happening?
Wow, that's fast,
Should
by the way.
Should I interject?
You got there on your first time meditating? I love that for you. I did not.
And this is TM, right? Transcendental meditation.
Yeah. So my first, because I was so, I had no expectations. I just focused on the mantra. I had no clue what would happen. And then that fucking happened. And then I was trying to like race towards that. And I learned that that's like chasing the dragon. Like I almost replaced my addictive personality to spirituality for a while.
Got it. Makes sense.
Sure.
Because I was chasing that. I've realized my addictive personality, it didn't stop with drugs. It went to men, then it went to spirituality, then it went to negative thinking, then it went to, and I mean, I'm just being super honest here, like how much money will my parents give me and support me with, because that's how I get love from them. And it was almost like all these attachments I had. And then finally I was able to detach from all of that back to me, receive abundance through myself, not through my parents, which was like the longest lesson I learned, because way back in childhood, I learned that money being given to me by my parents equaled love. So that was like the hardest one for me. Actually, funny enough, that was like, I got on a tangent there. I don't remember what you even asked me.
It's so
whatever.
True.
No,
though.
it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
We were talking about this connection connecting into the book because of transcendental meditation, and then that's where you started to get this download.
Oh, so then the second time I meditated was the opposite of bliss. I was in complete fear because it's almost like I had landed back in my body and remembered all the trauma I'd been through. Because in my 20s, when I was in all these bad relationships, I was in those because they felt so good because I didn't have to think about any of that shit I went through. So I always, when I was with someone, it was almost like I would like merge into them, like that codependency, because I wasn't living my life. I got to fucking attach to them, which is so, but that's what it was. And then my so anyway, being back in my own body at first terrified me. Now I love it. And then the third to fifth time, I all of a sudden woke out of this meditation. I saw this like infinity symbol, like a feedback loop. And all of a sudden I was just like, plasma is intelligent. It's the vehicle for consciousness. And then I'm going to write a book called A New Force. Like I even made a picture of it 5 years ago.
So you went into writing with the intent of writing a book. It wasn't like you were just kind of making notes and then you looked one day and you went, oh, I'm onto something. Like I'm creating something.
No. So I never had heard of plasma. I didn't know about any of this stuff. And then it all was just there, like a thought block. It was almost like my higher self was like, Dana, you're going to write this book. And it's called A New Force. I'm like 3,000 years in the future. The book's already written. You're going to take it now and co-create it for your reality and see what you can bring to your reality. And then it took me 4 years to write it because I remember arguing with myself, like, this is so not sexy. Like, this is so, like, I'm such a loser. Like, no one's ever going to date me if I write a book about this. Like, I want to be a famous actress, like, or famous filmmaker. Like, that's way more cool. And then after 4 years of that not working out, I was like, okay, I give up. I surrender. Like, I'll write the book. And then the book just came through me. And it was actually it was when my dad passed away in January when I had to move back to Florida. He was in a coma and I left LA, got shoved back in Florida. And then my life kind of got derailed. And I was like, okay, like I could die tomorrow. I'm just going to fucking write this book and let go of what I think my life should be and surrender to what my life obviously wants to be. And then this is so embarrassing, but like I've always wanted followers. I've always wanted to have a platform. I thought, because I think I was remembering my future, I thought it was going to be through acting. But no, I think I knew that I would have a platform But I didn't care about plasma doing that for me. I just wanted to help people. And of course, doing what I actually loved, who would have thought, is what got me people actually listening to me. So it's kind of hilarious when you give up and surrender is when those things happen, because now I don't care.
That's amazing.
Do you think you don't care because you're so aligned with what it is you are meant to do, what you want to do, that you just have given up the caring?
No, it's not. It's like when I say I don't care about like fame, because that's an illusion. That's not even a real thing. What I care about now is having a platform where I can speak my truths about reality and mirror people back to themselves so they can remember how much power they have no matter what happened to them, that they're not alone, that they're not going crazy with like certain experiences that might be happening to them. And I also realized that like when you focus on being like famous, you attract the totally wrong people. You're performative, like all these bad things come with that. And now it's like, no, I just want to live an authentic life with like real friends. And if you know, a lot of people do like what I say, then great. But it took me a long time. Yeah. I mean, I still want to be known. I can totally admit that, but I don't.
But for a different reason.
I mean, and maybe it's a little ego, sure. I don't know. But a lot of it is more like excited for people to know this stuff. Like it's my passion and I'm just expressing myself. Yeah.
Well, and one of the things I found interesting, I've heard a couple interviews with you, and I don't remember his name, but it was like the foremost expert on plasma. What is his name?
Robert Temple.
Robert Temple, thank you. And you were in England and you were in a room with Robert Temple and other people speaking about this. And when you did your presentation, you shared that he came over and said, please protect this girl at any cost. She is right on. Now, these are people who have been in the field, who have studied this. It's like their life work. And here you are coming along after transcendental meditation and having these downloads and writing something like this with someone to validate what you are writing. How did that feel?
That was like the best day. That was the best day of my life so far. So like Bernard Carr was there, who is a black hole like mathematician, astronomer guy. And then there was Timothy E. Eastman, who's a plasma physicist. He's like in his 80s. He's a genius. And then this guy, Nick Cook, who's a very big journalist. And Robert Temple, Jude Currivan. She wrote The Cosmic Hologram. And all these people were like, Dana, don't go to school. Don't listen to what anyone tells you. Just like keep going. What you're doing is like magic. Like, we love what you're doing. Like you're onto something. And like I had thought that, but I think when you go after what your destiny is, it also comes with a huge shadow of doubt. Like the more light you have, the more darkness is there. So I always have had that devil on my shoulder being like, you're making this up. This is stupid. You're an idiot. You need to go to school. Like no one cares what you're saying, you idiot. And just stuff like that's my inner narration. Yeah. So and I fight that, but now I also realize that was just my younger self, like that was told that. But it was incredibly validating, but it also reminded me that like I needed to learn to validate myself, because even though it was amazing, if I take that to heart, I also have to take people telling me that I suck to heart. So it's almost like, okay, they see me, they resonate with me, this is amazing, but now how can I do this for myself? So everything else I say, I don't have to look for validation for. It's more like, no, okay. They gave me, though, the permission to trust myself that I should have been giving myself the whole time, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
but yeah,
it does.
I love them. I was obsessed with it. I'm glad I met my heroes. In that case, it worked out. And I definitely believe in now what I'm doing like 1,000,000%. But I think it's okay to have a little doubt, because I know that I'm not God. I know that it's one perspective. It is one truth of 1,000,000 kajillion truths. But hey, maybe my truth can open reality to you in a way that maybe will help. And then you can mold it to your own reality. You know, my truth is just a lens. It's like a pair of glasses you're putting on. And it's like, oh, this is cool. And then if you don't like it, fine, take the glasses off and don't follow me.
It's tough to not have doubt when you feel like there's this higher power or something that is downloading this to you. So like, when you feel like I'm not I'm not getting all of this because I'm researching it. I'm getting a lot of this just because there's a higher power that is just using me as, this
vessel.
way of getting how do you not, it's like when somebody is a medium, and it's like how you go through that whole thing of like, these are ridiculous voices I'm hearing, and I don't trust this, and this feels ridiculous. And so then, of course, when people then call me out on that, there's a part of me that's like, I agree. Like, this shouldn't make any sense.
Right. Yep, totally. Dana, I so relate to what you're saying because I shared this with you when we touched base weeks ago. My second book that I am writing right now was literally, I don't use that, was like downloaded to me in this trance-like state. I won't go into the story, but I was so, it was a business decision that I needed to make, and I was agonizing over it, and my logical mind couldn't figure it out. And I asked with every fiber of my being, I was like, please give me an answer. And for one of the first times I could remember, I had 100% trust that I was gonna get an answer, which I normally don't. And next thing I know, I was walking over to the window, looking at the moon on the water. I was by the coast.
Whoa.
And I went into this trance
Looking at the moon on the water.
I know.
See, that is a
glimmering. And I won't go
goodness.
into the story, but I will tell you this. The title came to me just like it did to you. These like codes, almost like the Matrix, started coming in, and it was happening so fast. I just had to receive it. Otherwise I couldn't.
Yeah.
And I spent 3.5 years not doing it because I had so much. I'm busy. I can't do it. I really need to go inward and take the time. But really what it was fear, because what I was bringing through, I don't know. It was like
your nervous system couldn't hold it.
Yes, it was like a future higher self, a different version of myself saying, I know all these things, but you're not fully living this yet. And in my mind, I was like, I have to be it. I have to fully be there to be the expert to write. And then things sort of happened and moved around to where
when we talk about these business things like that I was just recently talking to you about, I have no idea how to implement these things. I'm literally just in it and I'm going, okay, I'm just going to keep doing it. And I'm assuming that the answers to these questions are going to come to me as I need them.
But you're an idea guy. Things come to you.
Which I finally embrace. Like for so long, I would have ideas and then I'd go, that's a ridiculous idea. And it would stop there.
Oh no.
But I think a
lot of people
do that. That is sort of,
they do.
And it's from your childhood and it's from experiences and it's from things where you second guess yourself. And in second guessing yourself, you end up turning off a lot of these connections that are there. And I genuinely believe now when things are downloaded, I get excited because it's like, oh my God, I have no idea how to actually do this, but this would be so awesome.
You're doing it.
Like it makes perfect sense to me when it comes. And the enthusiasm that I get when those ideas come to me is incredible because I embrace them and look at them in a different way than I did before.
He gets so excited.
Very excited.
That's what I was. So do I. I was just going to say, I feel like, okay, so you all three sitting here and me, we are wizards. We are our higher self in our body, and that is the divine feminine, the rage I was talking about. The reason that we feared that those things coming through is they're our own magic powers. That's your magic, and you were denying it because it's all wrapped in fear. And that's why once we kind of unwrap from that fear, then it becomes this like buzzy kind of energy. And that's the beautiful feedback system I was talking about, where you have the idea and then you trust that this energy is going to show it to you in a mysterious way. And you just, things come into your life, whether it's like the solution or a person or things just kind of fill in the mold when you give it that space. And we don't know, most of us don't know how to live in paradox. We associate the unknown with danger because that's living in survival. So congratulations on being a wizard now.
Speaking of wizard, want to kind of cap it here by saying, what are you most excited about lately that is a little bit wizard-like?
Oh, good question. So I have a school/community I'm making called Metaphysical Mysterium. So you guys are like my perfect target market, but it's basically people who are either scientists, creators, or just natural born seekers, little wizards themselves who want to learn about what I call the science of higher consciousness, which is this realm of our higher self actually has a science to it, and how you can, inform your reality more, how you can live in this magic all the time, how you can transmute fear into flow. So I'm going to be teaching all these really cool classes on there, and it's a monthly subscription. It's like $22. And then also I'm going to do like lives on there, live workshops. But it's a way where I feel like people can have community and school. It's like a Hogwarts for adults. And me and Randy were talking about this. Randy had a great idea about doing it in person. And I'm like, yeah, well, if I get investors, and that's like a long time from now, but the easiest way and the cheapest way to do it right now is online. So it's a great start. And then my goal is to do like in-person events. Eventually, like I'm calling it Camp Mysterium. It's like adults going back to camp. It's like a circus camp meets like telling stories around the fire. I just feel like we all need to go back to like having fun, not feeling we need to do certain things or be a certain way to get certain things, and like just be kids again.
I love that.
I'm 52. I could totally be the Dumbledore of this school that you're talking about, right? I could be the guy
Sounds
with
good.
the big beard and the robe and, be sitting up in the front and
Sure.
kind of mumbling through.
Yeah, sure.
Sharna, we'll bring in your fantasy. You'll go full cosplay.
Yeah, I'll go cosplay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you guys can be some of the professors. I'll contact you.
Love.
Yes. Amazing. Dana, thank you so much for sitting with us and spending time
Thank you.
What a
with
fun
us.
conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like really a fun conversation, because I love when like-minded people sit in a room together, whether virtually or physically, and share, because it's so inspirational. Just from hearing you, it's inspired me to continue to listen to myself and put the self-doubts aside and just continue to go full forward.
Full steam ahead.
The doubt. Sorry.
There we
I know,
go.
talking.
It's the
really-
first bark we've
I know. Danica, say hi. Okay.
Oh, look at that. Things happening.
She speaks English. Just so I could say, because this is really good for the listeners and for you, remember, the more potential you have, the more doubt you have. Picture your higher self, right? And picture there's this membrane, this 4-dimensional membrane, your thoughts or emotions, what you can call your, demonic, but it's not. It's just like your own. There's this film between your higher self and you, and it wants to give you everything. It's what's giving you these ideas. When it gives you these ideas and your nervous system can't hold all of them yet, all of this light that you can't hold creates shadows, and those shadows create doubt. So all you have to do when that doubt comes is become an open system and just say, oh, hi, doubt, like you're here because I'm getting more light. And you just open to be like, okay, well, you're here. I can doubt and still sit in uncertainty and know that all these things are coming to me. And you just mean that I'm on the right path. Just like in the movie Labyrinth, where they're going to the castle and they're underground. She's getting walked underground with the troll to the castle, and these walls start talking to her, and they're like, no, slow down, you're going the wrong way. And the troll goes, oh, don't worry, they're just doing their job. And she was going the right way. So it's kind of like, I just love remembering that, because I have so much doubt every day, but it just means, you're going the right way.
I so love that you are 36 quoting Labyrinth and like movies like Never Ending Story, because to me they're so deep and there's so many messages, and I will say that and anyone younger than me looks at me like I'm nuts, like what movie? And I'm like, oh god, okay.
Those are the Indian in the cupboard, Never Ending Story. All of those are those were my childhood. I don't know, my parents were like, I was adopted, my parents were like 50, so I was watching older movies.
Love it. Dana, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, guys.
Where can people go if they're interested in Metaphysical Mysterium?
Yes. So they could go to danakippel.com right now to sign up for the email list, because it'll be out in December. They could also look at my Instagram, dana.thealien, and the link is in my bio, and my TikTok, Dana Kippel, and my YouTube is at Plasma Intelligence, of course.
Love.
Amazing. Thank you.
Dana, thank you so much
for being with us.
Yes, thank you guys.
Everyone, thank you so much for being here. Another great episode. Highly recommend going to check out Dana's work. She is amazing. And thank you for following along. If you think that someone in your life would benefit from this episode, or they would like it, or they're a seeker in some way, send it to them. Like, follow, and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Thanks. There are a lot of things that we talked about in this episode today. It's one thing to hear about this. It's another to take action and create the life that you want. If there's something that you want to create in your life, more fulfillment, more happiness, more joy, getting in touch with your intuition and how to make better decisions, then go to my website, randyspelling.com, and find out more there. Thanks.